WNBA getting straight up clowned. New rival league, Project B, has come out and said that they are launching an Olympic and FIBA guidelines for its gender eligibility requirements. Meanwhile, the WNBA is stuck in this transgender. You got Enes Kanter and Royce White, men talking about joining the women's league, all because the WNBA won't come out and take a stance. This is insanity. Project B straight up clowning the WNBA. Cathy Engelbert's job is being called for as she has created a toxic culture within the league. We got to get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit the bell notification, hype the video. That would be greatly appreciated. Listen, man, Caitlin Clark, Project B might not be such a bad look after all. Look, if you're going to be forced to play against dudes in the WNBA, you might need to go and play elsewhere because this is getting ridiculous. All right, this is courtesy of Front Office Sports. Here it says exclusive. Project B says it will launch with Olympic and FIBA guidelines for its gender eligibility requirements. Former WNBA star Elena Beard, a Project B co-founder, tells Front Office Sports she's disappointed in WNBA leadership for not taking a stand. And this is a direct shot at the WNBA. Now, if you don't know the FIBA rules are if you have gone through puberty as a boy, you are not allowed. You've gone through male puberty, you are not allowed to compete in the woman sport, period. That is the rule, and that is the rule that Project B is taking on. Here it says the new Global Basketball League tells Front Office Sports it will follow the IOC and FIBA guidelines for its gender eligibility requirements. So they got ahead of this thing. They're not even playing games. Here it says, while the WNBA faces loud questioning about its gender eligibility guidelines, an upstart rival women's basketball league is slamming them for their handling of the issue and aims to prevent ending up in the same situation. Elena Beard, a former WNBA star and the co-founder of the planned Global Basketball League, Project B, told Front Office Sports she's disappointed in WNBA leadership for not taking a stand as non-basketball narratives dominate its discourse. That's a direct shot at Cathy Engelbert. Here she was quoted as saying, "Where's the accountability, the integrity, the intentionality?" said Beard, who is also the league's first chief basketball officer. All of it is needed right now in what could become one of the most defining moments in the history of the sport. Beard added that Project B, which says it will launch in January, will focus on creating joy and delivering the highest quality of basketball. Project B has signed several WNBA stars, including Nneka Ogwumike, Jonquel Jones, and Sophie Cunningham. Okay, here it says Cunningham comments in an ESPN profile published in late July have put an increased focus on the WNBA's eligibility requirements. The Indiana Fever guard says she wants to protect young girls in the locker room or young girls in the sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Okay, these comments have met with support from groups seeking to protect women's sports, but also resistance from trans rights activists, as well as some WNBA players and coaches. The WNBA did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. Of course, Cathy Engelbert never wants to respond with a comment, okay? Getting ahead of the gender eligibility issue, Project B told Front Office Sports it will follow the Olympic Committee and FIBA gender eligibility guidelines, saying the decision is meant to provide consistency and confidence for players and stakeholders. Okay, the IOC announced a new policy effectively banning transgender women from competing in female categories at the Olympics. The IOC explained the policy protects fairness, safety, and integrity in the female category. Okay, it says, though it is still collecting basketball-specific data and transgender-related evidence to further evaluate the matter, the Federation says it is not entertaining any transgender eligibility requests while the review is ongoing, which is until the start of 2027. Okay, and this just goes to show, look, Cathy Engelbert has done a piss-poor job. Project B hasn't even started yet. And they got out and got ahead of this and let it be known, look, we're not playing a transgender game with y'all. We're not entertaining it. We're following the same rules as FIBA and the IOC. Point blank, period. If you're mad about it, take it up with them. We're following the guidelines that they have already set in place. Meanwhile, the WNBA twirling their thumbs, has no idea what to do. Just a complete shit show per usual. And now we're going to get into my man KC as he broke down Cathy Engelbert in this toxic WNBA environment that is clearly taking place.
She was raised in a Christian household. Her parents, who look like gold, like you said, she's well-spoken, well-mannered. She's obviously intelligent, which is why it's hard to understand how this lovely young woman became this insufferable grown woman. Ladies and gentlemen, the young woman in that clip is Dejanay Carrington, the same Dejanay Carrington who poked Caitlin Clark in the eye, the same Dejanay Carrington who attacked Sophie Cunningham and blamed white privilege. I'm sure you're probably wondering how a lovely young woman with a bright future, someone who came from a loving family, someone who grew up with real privilege instead of mythical white privilege, how in the hell did that inspiring young woman transition into an angry, aggressive, hateful, grown woman? How did Dejanay Carrington become DJ Carrington? The WNBA has always been a political league. And if you're not down with the cause, if you refuse to comply, then you are not welcome in the WNBA. Watch it for yourself.
We were a league built on speaking up, protesting, talking about things that were wrong, not worrying about consequences of said actions, because actually we did things all together as a league. And let me remind you, it was about 75 to 80% black woman league at this time when these things were going on. We spoke out about what was problematic. The 92% black women that did not vote for Trump. In our league, in this league, in my mind, and this is how people need to look at it, if we have a league that was built on black women and we still have a league that is still majority black women, if black queer women are not excluding people from shit, then none of us are.
Absolutely.
Let's have separate but equal then. Let's have two separate leagues. Let's have leagues.
I wish y'all would just make a separate league at this point. I really wish y'all would, to be honest with you.
I don't know how much more clear the message could be. You just heard Sydney Colson say it. If players don't want to comply, if you don't agree with the WNBA narrative, then you should start another league. Which means as a fan, if you don't agree with their political narrative, the WNBA does not want your business. Which is the same thing Uncle KC has been telling you guys for months. I want you to think about something. What would happen if an NFL player was dividing the audience? Hell, we don't have to answer that question. Let's ask our good friend Colin Kaepernick. Hey, Colleen, what happens if you kneel for the national anthem and divide the NFL audience? Ooh, I don't recommend it. Uncle Roger will kick you out of the league. What would happen if a role player in the NBA viciously attacked one of their stars? What would happen if an unknown NBA player essentially told 80 million people in America, we don't want your business? My guess is he would not be an NBA player for very long. Uncle Casey, that's not true. Adam Silver is weak. While I agree that Adam Silver isn't necessarily the strongest commissioner, I do have to give Adam Silver credit. October of 2020, golden opportunity 2-3 weeks ago when Donald Trump called him a racist. LeBron chose to remain silent. There was a time when LeBron James wouldn't shut the hell up about politics. But over the last few years, he has consistently chosen to exercise his right to remain silent. You don't think Adam Silver influence that decision?
See, the WNBA just got to get cleaned up all around the board. It's just too much of a clown show.
It seems as though every flagrant foul, every incident, every ejection.
Then they had Sue Bird and Cheryl Miller talking about calling people outsiders. Like, it's just like, bro, it's just crazy.
Ammunition. You don't get to lay the foundation of your league on political and social activism, then turn around and complain when people treat you as a political league, a political activist. I don't blame the fan base. I don't blame the outsiders. Hell, I don't even blame the media. WNBA players have no one to blame but themselves. And it starts at the top because Cathy Engelbert refuses to hold them accountable.
Exactly.
There is a
Exactly.
simple solution to damn near every problem in the WNBA. Step one is replacing Cathy Engelbert with a commissioner who is not afraid to stand up to the entitled players. This league is desperate for strong leadership. And to be honest with you, I think the WNBA is desperate for strong male leadership.
We've been saying this. They need to get a male commissioner and get this thing in order and get it run like a real business.
WNBA needs a drill sergeant. They need someone to come in and clean up the flaming ass fire that Cathy Engelbert has started. The culture in this league is rotten. The WNBA is a prime example of why politics have no place in sports. Look at what happened in the NBA.
I mean, he just went on, shout out to Casey behind the line. And the WNBA just looks like a microcosm of the leadership that it has, which is none. They have no leadership with Cathy Engelbert, which is why it looks like a complete clown show. And you have a brand new league in Project B coming out and getting ahead of things that you would think the WNBA would already have situated, but they clearly don't. It is a joke. It is an embarrassment. What says you? Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. This is Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.